I'd like to use a couple C words.
That's a new one. Can we hear it again? I love it.
I'd like to use a couple C words.
Did I say C words?
You just said C words.
Oh.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, Ryan, we haven't even started the pregame show, and he's already got me grinning from ear to ear. So let's start it. Stars Wild pregame with Luds starts right now. I can't focus. That was so good. This is the DLLS Stars pregame show coming at you as we get ready for Stars Wild preseason game number 2 and actually play a home and home with the Wild on Thursday in St. Paul. You remember the name of the new name on the building?
All I remember is XL, so I don't know what the new name is.
I know. We're going to have to probably have a swear jar for the XL Energy Center because it's now called the Grand Casino Arena, which just rolls right off the tongue. How many times are we going to call it the X? I'm positive a couple times for sure. But that's neither here nor there. We got a new Luds drop that's just tickling me. I'm laughing about it so much. Luds is here after being in Pittsburgh for a long weekend. Glad to you made it back. Probably feeling a little better too.
Yeah, and then you get here, and then the allergies kick in
Oh,
again.
welcome back to Dallas.
Yeah, I know, but that's all right.
Well, we have no Sam tonight, but we do have Ryan. And before we get into the main conversation, quick note about Big Brothers Big Sisters. Make sure that you are aware. We've been talking about it all month. We are celebrating Big Brothers Big Sisters month. This week, we are really encouraging you to sign up to be a big. So go to the website bbbs.org/ALLCITY and check it out today. Luds will give you a little bit more information during our ad break. Oh, they're already starting to get excited in the chat for sure. But let's get into this, Luds, as we see. Let's talk lineup first, and then we'll get into some of the audio that we have and video that we have to play for. Stars going with a much heavier NHL-laden lineup for this game against the Wild. Very few of these guys were in the lineup on Saturday when they played the first one of the preseason. Now,
the senior citizens line there,
doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, and let's start with that. Well, actually, no, I'm going to start with the top line. All this talk of different line combinations up front for the last 3 or 4 days of training camp, and here we have Robertson, Hintz, and Rantanen playing together. Is this all them trying different things, but that's their go-to?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been penciled in, maybe even with a little link over the top of it all summer long. The only holdback or drawback would have been, is Robo going to be here?
Right.
So that might be the part where they weren't 100%, but I think that ship has kind of sailed, and we're putting that rumor mill thing to bed. So, I mean, it's probably what makes the most sense. I don't think, well, at least I didn't expect Jamie Benn to be up on the top and try to keep up with Hintz moving up the ice and play, 24 minutes a night over the course of 82 games. So, I would say that the Robo Hintz Rantanen line is probably what you expect. But we got to go back and, Gully did say he'd like to have a little bite on every line. And so I don't know where the bite comes in on that line. Not that Hintz and Rantanen can't play heavy, but it just makes sense to me that that's the line that's going to draw the most attention from your opponent. And they're going to they're either going to want to go offense on offense, or they're going to, go back to an old school kind of way and put a line together. They're going to try to shut them down, which then ultimately frees up their top line to go up against whoever else. So, and then we'll see what happens when they get on the road.
Well, let's talk about the senior citizen line, because I'm sure they'll really love that nickname from you for sure. But Jamie Benn is going to play next to Duchesne and Sagan tonight. And I feel like I could tee you up about this is a good line for Jamie as far as
Are there 3,000 games there? Jamie's knocking on that door.
He's played 1,000 games.
He's got 1,000. Duchesne should have 1,000.
Sagan
make it. He's in the 900
yet. Tyler, he's had some injury issues.
Yeah. So they're knocking on the door. So you got a very veteran laden line here, and again, I think that makes sense with with
Ooh,
what?
Tyler's 11 away.
11?
989.
Okay.
So
And Jamie's what, a goal away from 400?
300.
300?
300 goals. Yeah.
300? I'm giving him too much credit.
You
Okay.
are. Yeah. I mean, he'll appreciate that.
How many penalty minutes Jamie have?
Well, I'll tell you that. Well,
Couple thousand?
That would be a pretty good guess. Let's see as we load that. You like that vamping? He has
879.
What?
That's it. Yeah, not as many as we thought.
What? That's it?
Yeah.
Are you talking about points or?
He's almost at 1,200 games. No, he has 956 points.
Wow, I thought he'd have more than that.
Here's
All
an
right.
interesting question, Luds. He's at
Obviously.
956. Does he get to 1,000 points this year?
Yeah.
You think he'll get more than 44
Well, I mean,
points?
You know, if the other two guys stay healthy,
He
then
had-
he's fine with
He
it.
had
If he stays
40
on that line.
49 points last year. So that's
How many? What's he sitting at right now?
956. Needs
Oh
44.
yeah. Oh, he'll get 50 points playing. If he again, we saw last year he was down a little
He
bit.
was.
And then I think the power play, some of that time got taken away a little bit.
Well, he's second unit instead of first.
It'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see. Yeah, I think that all depends on Jamie, how he feels, and how he's producing and doing what he's supposed to do as a captain and everything else.
By the way, I want to say hi to Sarah Maynard, who just said, "Die Hard here, first live chat. My heart is happy. The hockey is back." Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining the chat. We have some fun with it for sure. Don't forget, if you see in this new chat, there's like Cali Stars Joker, Harry, a couple others that have the SC. There's T.O. in there. I haven't seen Ardell yet. He might be stuck on the tollway. But you see those SC badges. That's the supporters club. We'll talk about that in a minute, too, in case you're curious. Luds, the other 6 are of the forward group, besides Ben, Duchesne, Sagan, Robertson, Hinson, Rantanen, are younger guys.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Ernie's not, but he's going to play with Harrison Scott and Cole Lind. Now, Cole Lind's not really a young guy. He's been around for a while. He's played a lot in the AHL. He's one of the AHL veteran guys for the Texas Stars. Harrison Scott came out of the, can't wait to say, the University of Maine last year for the Black Bears. Had a good playoff with Texas. He's going to get a chance after playing in the prospect games to show what he can do tonight. And playing with Adam Ernie, who I thought this was interesting. Gully praised him yesterday, saying that their internal analytics had him at a +6 in scoring chances for while he was on the ice, minus scoring chances against when he's on the ice. And he said that +6, he said that's a pretty big number.
Here we go with the analytics already. Maybe Gully's into that more than other people are. So, yeah, I think, and again, it just shows that you're at the right end of the ring.
Yeah.
Spending more time at that end than you are in your own zone, which is always a bonus. And there's a lot of things that go into that, just exiting your zone and being able to pick up the right people on the way back and shutting things down, in the defensive zone. So that's always a plus.
And then the last line, you have Justin Ertel, who I thought, as he should have, he's, a little bit more experienced guy, looked good. And he thumped a couple guys in the prospect games, set up a goal because of it. He's going to play with Artem Schlane. We'll get into him in a minute. And Cross Hannes, who is a local Dallas kid.
Yep. He gets an opportunity, put the green and white jerseys on. And, Cross, we had Cross on the ice with us a couple times when he was younger, and skilled kid. Like, he can skate, he can dangle. Spent time, obviously, in Detroit and Grand Rapids. And so
3 years with the Griffins.
He didn't really light it up from a goal standing point. I think we expected him. I don't know if he got a fair, or again, we'd have to ask him if he felt like he got a fair shot to jump in the lineup there. But his numbers from, if you look at him in Grand Rapids, are average. But no, it's great for another one to join the Seth Jones and the Blake Colemans and all these kind of guys that came on there. His dad, Trevor, has been working with the elite program for years and does a great job with all the kids too. So I'm sure they're all pumped up.
They have to know. I mean, I'm sure that, I don't know. Maybe he found out yesterday. Maybe it was this morning that he knew for sure he was playing in this game. But if you're from here, it's got to have a contingency going, hey, here's a chance to see you playing at American Airlines Center wearing Dallas Stars.
Yeah, you're always interested in what his first couple shifts are.
Yeah.
He's got to get. I don't. Whether he's he's a good kid and he's an easy going. It seems like he obviously loves to play the game. The way that we watched him skate and play, and he has a good time because he's really good at skating and dangling out there. So, but this is a little bit different. So a lot of those things you aren't able to do. So I'm sure the couple years that he's been in Detroit and in Grand Rapids, he's learned the right way to play.
Let's take a look at the defense that the Stars are going to roll out tonight, including the big guns. Miro Heiskanen and Esa Lindell get a chance to play together. You have talked so much this summer about how much you like the idea of them playing together, and we're going to see that. If things go well with the decor earlier this year, we'll see these two on the ice a lot together.
Yeah, I mean, of course you will. I mean, especially Esa. If he's going to take if you're taking top minutes 5-on-5 with Miro, in those numbers, and then you do what you do from the penalty killing standpoint, which is where I hope that they do get Thomas and that they're going to work with Miro when they're a little bit more Lyubushkin. And again, I hope Leon Bischel gets some time out there, a little more time.
I would think he should.
Yeah.
With his size and
seems to
physicality.
me like that should be – it's too bad he's not right-handed and for him and Essa to be a partner. But regardless, he should be a pillar. He should be a staple on the PK. Just from playing against people, just hands down.
If he was right-handed, would you be clamoring for him to play alongside Harley? Bischel, that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I still want to be able to see who he is offensively. I think
He's
I know
still
who's
a
gonna
really
be,
young guy
exactly.
for NHL
and
by their definition.
I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a game. Yet.
Not yet.
I'm surprised he hasn't gotten in a game already. Now, to me, taking Nils and putting him in another game after the last game, this is a do-over for him.
This is my next question for you. Is this a good thing for him
Yes.
because of the way he played and he gets to play alongside Harley, which it seems they really want that to work?
Yeah, he had a couple boo-boos, in the game, and he didn't stand out. But, I think it's nice that they're putting him back in. The same with Ernie. He, again, you can talk about being a +6, but I didn't see a lot of offensive dazzle from him, but there was nothing that he did wrong in that game.
He also had that one chance early. Sam liked to bring that up, the one where he pulled the puck on the side of the net. The goaltender, Binnington, had no idea where it was, and unfortunately for Ernie, he stuffed it into the right pad when he probably should have scored, but he did create a goal.
Yep.
He was causing trouble and creating scoring chances. And in a game where, as that went along, Dallas dominated, that he was part of that.
Yeah. And then also I mentioned Taylor, because he gets another opportunity.
That's the next one.
Well, I'm just saying, there's only 3 guys that are repeats, right?
Flash that up again, the defense, if you would, Ryan. This is interesting, Luds, because Trey Taylor, we were talking about him in the prospect games and how much we liked him. We were hearing great things. Robert went down and watched him play in the playoffs for Texas last year. He's a Clarkson kid, came out of his 3rd year at Clarkson playing for the Golden Knights, which is interesting, right? Because now we have 2 Golden Knights, but that's beside the point. And he's going to get a chance, instead of the last game where he played with another young guy, he's going to get a chance to play with Ilya Lyubushkin.
Yeah, and again, I think that to me, it's a pat on the back to him, the way that he played in his first opportunity here. He got up and down the ice. I was impressed hearing people, and he's only had a couple goals a year, right, wherever he's been. So it's not like he's a big offensive threat.
I think his 3rd year at Clarkson, he went 4, 5, and he went up to 9 goals last year.
Yeah.
Pretty good for a college.
Yeah,
defenseman.
but the thing is when I watched him play in his first game the other night, he was doing really well getting pucks to the net.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he felt uncomfortable, and I felt like he kept it simple. Obviously, he can skate. So, and defensively, and again, a little bit that I could tell from sitting in a dark locker room in Pittsburgh trying to watch the game
phone.
On the phone. Well, I had 3 things. I had the phone and the laptop and a iPad thing too. So
Stereo.
Yeah, but I think it's nice to see it because it tells you something. Like there's something there we saw in game 1. We want to see a little bit more, and now we're putting you, with a veteran group, and let's see how you play with those other 5 tonight. And so I think between Nils and Taylor, that's who I would be keeping eyes on. Because we know what we're getting with the other ones, but I hope that Nils has a better performance and and just plays well defensively and. I would love to see him get a couple opportunities in the power play, and I know that they're going to work in the other 2 guys for sure. But I think that's something that Nils can jump into if one of those guys is down.
All right, we have some more stuff to talk about with Trey Taylor, and we're going to have some audio video from Neil Graham, Taylor, and Glen Gulutzan. We'll get into that. We'll show you a little bit about the Wild as we continue the pregame show right here on DLLS.
Little big brother, big sister news, right? Become a big. Mentorship reshapes futures, strengthens communities, and drives economic progress. Together, we can change the odds and build a better tomorrow. Bigs and littles hang out a few hours a month doing normal, everyday activities like seeing a movie, doing homework, playing games, going out to eat, or just hanging out. Each big and little match is supported by a dedicated match support specialist who is always there to provide resources and support. Enter your zip code on the site to find your local Big Brothers Big Sisters agency in your area and then complete the online inquiry form. Upon completion, a Big Brothers Big Sisters staff member will contact you. Go to bbbs.org/allcity for more information to sign up to become a Big today.
Between Big Brothers Big Sisters and branded bills, they give you some really tricky
You got a lot of BBs.
codes and websites and whatever. Let's talk about Supporters Club. And I was talking about this a little bit earlier. If you go in the chat right now, there's Ardell. He got in there, and he and Wagstaff apparently are having words already. Friendly, of course, but this is what we're talking about. That little SC badging that goes on your name if you sign up for Supporters Club, which, of course, has been established since 2025. So it's a brand new thing, only a couple weeks old. As Ben likes to say, yes, our GM, who is a character on this show and causes power outages and throwing footballs at us and all sorts of fun stuff. True sicko level stuff. But as you can see at the bottom right corner of the screen, you've got special emojis. If you look in the chat, you can see that T.O. just put a bing bong emoji in there. Sign up for the Supporters Club, and that will give you a chance to get any and all of those things. You can have a lot of fun. You can have a little bit of bragging rights over some of the other folks in the chat because yours stands out just a little bit more. See, Cali Stars Joker just put a bing bong in there. And you will also get some exclusive content that nobody else can get because you are part of the Supporters Club. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Trey Taylor. And I misspoke earlier when I said he played with a younger guy in game one. He didn't. He got to play with Alexander Petrovic in the first game, which he said, and we're going to talk about it, he had a little experience playing with Texas. But before in the morning skate today, Neil Graham, who's now the assistant coach for the Stars, was the Texas Stars head coach for a number of years, including last year. He was at the podium. Again, Gully allowed Neil to do that part of the skate downtown while Gulutzan was working with the non-game group up in Frisco, kind of dividing and conquering this morning. Well, Neil Graham had a couple things to say. One of them was he was asked about Trey Taylor. So here's what he had to say.
I liked the way he played. I thought he was responsible. I think everyone can agree he's a pretty strong skater, and you see him closing gaps and breaking pucks out. And what I liked is I thought he played to his own identity. You're here for a reason, and sometimes you can lose sight of that. He's a good kid, good player. And you know what? I'm excited to see him in another game because right now, that first one's the first one. And now you're right back. You don't have a lot of time to think. You did a good job the first night. Be yourself again. And see how game two goes.
What do you think that coach speak is there, Luds? The first one is the first one.
Well, he kept, how many times did he say, be yourself again? Because he likes what did they saw. Just do the very same thing. And he did mention skater a couple different times.
Yes.
So he's talking about a player's strength. And in today's game, if you can skate and you can, know where you are on the ice, you can have some success here. So I think all the little things that Neil had to say is that we like what we see. And we want to see if you can put them back to back to back. And as these games, we don't know how many games he's going to get, but if he can get a little bit closer to the last couple of games, he'll be playing against more NHL people. And that will be the real test to see how he can play, when things are coming at him faster and there's a little bit more east-west going on, and then probably a little more physicality.
And make no mistake, this is not us thinking that Trey Taylor is going to make the opening night roster.
Right.
All due respect to the kid, I've been impressed with him so far, but the blue line is set. Whether it's the 5, 6, 7, and 8, we're not sure, but those top 8 are pretty clear. Now, if he continues to play well, could he maybe push a guy like Lundqvist or Kolyachonok? Could he be the first call-up if they needed a guy? That's where I think he's looking at right now. And the expectation is get this experience, go down and help lead the Texas Stars in his first full year pro.
And the conversation has got to be, it's going to be a little bit easier there, but just because of, level of play and things like that. But you still want to be able to play the way that you're going to play here.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to give him 2 or 3 things they want him to continue to work on should he go back, which I guess you're saying that more than likely what's going to happen.
I mean, he's played what? He played 10 regular season games with the Texas Stars after his third year at Clarkson, and then he played 14 playoff games. I think that's even more impressive. He seemed to get more comfortable as the games got more high stakes.
Well, I think they take everything into consideration. Like when pressure and the moment isn't too big for a young player, it's something that's in them. And so, but you do want to put them in some more uncomfortable situations against different opponents and see how they can handle, that. So it's a bit of a process, but I'm sure with Jim and we've known Jim Nill, and we've known this for a long time. His phrase going back 30 years is he likes his players overripe.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think you see that there's 7 defensemen here that are obviously adequate to be on this lineup. And we haven't even talked about Petro. I'm still a Petro guy.
I know you are.
I'm a Petro guy. So, yeah, but it's just nice that he gets his feet wet here. He gets some good feedback from the coaches and management, and you take that with them and them knowing that we will be checking on you after every game.
Talk about how he handles it. Well, here's Trey Taylor in his own words with the bright lights of an NHL building.
Watch the bright smile.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Just such a cool experience. Just coming into the rink when I first came in on was that Saturday night there. Just kind of the whole thing has been an unbelievable experience. I've never done anything like this, so it's a dream come true to just be around these players and be able to compete and play at this level.
And then what's the visual like? I mean, you're in a different building with different lighting and different, like when the fans are in the crowd, it just seems like, I know goalies say it's a big difference from the minor leagues to come up to this building.
Yeah, no, the building's huge. Like you kind of like look up. If I caught myself looking up a couple times, it's like your head just keeps going like that. So it's really cool. Just the whole thing, like coming in and with all the big bright lights. This is what you live for. You want to be in these moments and show what you can do. So it's just been an awesome experience.
And then once you start skating, do you see any of that? Because I've talked to other players, and it's just like it all becomes that blur, and you're just playing a regular hockey game.
100%. I think at the start, even in warm-ups, you see it a little bit, but then once the game kind of goes on and you just kind of get comfortable, you just kind of just play, and you kind of forget about everyone else in the stands, and you just try to be you and show what you can do.
So
He needs to save that when he gets about his 5th or 6th year in the NHL to go back and look at that interview right there, because the first thing I think of is like a 10 or 12-year-old kid that just got to Disney World, and they're looking up at everything that's going on.
Can't stop smiling.
Around them. Oh my God, it's so exciting to see, and again, it tells you about who he is. Like a lot of players, I think, would be very, calm and just kind of giving you the right answers, but he just seems genuinely, he's just excited.
Yeah.
He's excited to be in that locker room. He's excited to get onto the game. He doesn't appear to be nervous or scared at all.
I wanted you to see him because we got a chance to interview him after the first game of the Prospects weekend with the Detroit Red Wings up in Frisco. So it would have been 2 weekends ago now. And it was the first time I'd met him and looked at you. He's excited. He was engaging.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those players that's easy to talk to, but seems like he's not overwhelmed by the moment. Now, granted, it's a prospect game at the time, but not everybody's like that. A lot of players learn to try to hold everything back and just try to get through interviews. And he's a guy that he immediately he made it very easy to start to go, oh, I like this guy.
It reminds me of when I first got to Montreal, and after our first couple practices, and I got to take my first trip downtown with a few of the boys to go to a couple of establishments. I had that same look. I was looking up, big smile on my face, and pulling out money and throwing it around. I didn't have any, but whatever I had, I was throwing it around.
Well, I was talking about who he was playing with. He's playing with Lyubushkin tonight. He got to play with Petrovic in the first game. He was asked about trying to get comfortable. Listen to the communication from the veterans line that he brings up.
Yeah, I was really fortunate, actually. They put me with Alex Petrovic in my first game, so I played a little bit with him down in Texas. So just having that familiarity actually really helped me, just, him talking to me. And then even this morning during morning skate, Ilya came up to me and was chatting with me, just, hey, let's talk lots and let's make it easy on each other and be there for each other and play connected tonight. So just those guys, they've obviously done it for a long time, so it's easy to step in, help out in any way you can, and just kind of learn from those guys. So it's awesome.
Obviously, he's still very excited. It's the same interview, but veterans that are going about handling a young guy the right way, talking to him, communicating, that is so key. And you tell stories about this all the time from your days when you were the young guy in Montreal, certain guys talking to you or not talking to you, depending on the case.
Well, sometimes you got to be careful because that young player that you're helping along is there to take your job and make less money than you are. So, no, I think, and again, there's a saying that I've talked about all the time in the locker room in Montreal about, now it's your time to give things back. So that's what veteran guys do. And it's nice to hear that's what Petro's doing, right? I mean, there's another guy that wants a job there. And so you're kind of, by walking a teammate, now he's a teammate or possibly a teammate, walking him through all these little situations, you're helping him show to them that he can be here, which means you may not at some point.
It's selfless.
So that's just the way it is. Absolutely. Yep. That's what they do. That's what players do.
Another clip from Neil Graham. He was asked about two players that you may not be familiar with. Harrison Scott, I was mentioning earlier, University of Maine, and a young Russian player, Artem Shlain, who has been around North America for a while. It's not as though he's just coming over the old line off the boat. They haven't probably taken a boat across the Atlantic in quite some time. But here's Neil Graham about these two young guys that he has a little bit of experience with now.
Yeah, this is what it's about. You get two college prospects. They're coming in. I had a little taste of them in Texas in the American League. Harrison Scott, he played every playoff game for us in a deep playoff run. We saw his game grow. We saw his game mature. Schlainer, he's got a lot of pop. I like his details. I like the way he hunts pucks. They're going to have a little nerves in themselves day one, and that's okay. It means they're excited to play. But at the end of the day, get a couple shifts in, and you'll realize it's just hockey and be yourself.
So Harrison Scott, for those of you who don't know, is a California native, born in San Jose, but he played for a couple of teams in the NAHL and the BCHL, including the Amarillo Bulls out west Texas. Then he had 2 years at Bentley University, followed by the last 2 years at the University of Maine, go Black Bears, and then came to Texas at the end of his final college season and then played all 14 playoff games. Artem Shlain is from Moscow, but he was in the USHL, played for UConn, University of Connecticut, which still sounds weird to say that they're part of Hockey East because it's not that new of a program now, but it feels they weren't there when I was a kid cheering for UMaine. Then he played a couple years at Northern Michigan, and then because of the COVID year, he was able to play at Arizona State last year, which, of course, is another rising program in college hockey. So he's been around a little bit, and these guys are going to get a chance to play an NHL preseason game tonight.
Hearing Neil talk, it makes me think of how lucky these guys are having him there.
Yeah.
And have had him.
He's an ally for them.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But they have a relationship. You know what I mean? And he can relate and kind of pass things back and forth and have a different conversation with those young players than the head coach can or somebody like that. So it's nice to have that conduit that can just kind of relay things and you kind of get a feeling for the younger guys. You know how you react to them. And that's why I've always said I think it's important in today's game to have the younger coaches there because again, these kids are different than what we all were, and then some groups after us, and you have to speak to them differently. You have to show them a little bit more of this. You actually have to show them things. They like to see things in video, or we were just on the board. So
I have 3 clips from Glen Gulutzan. I don't think we're going to have enough time for all of them. Before we do, let's take a quick look at the Minnesota Wild lines. Ryan, if you would throw up the forwards. This is a lot like St. Louis's group Luds the other day. Very young lineup. Couple of ex-Texas or Dallas Stars. Tyler Pitlick playing on the right side of the second line. You've most likely heard of Yakov Trenin and Vinny Hinostroza. Nikolai Abe-Kubel on the fourth line. But there's a lot of young guys that you may have no familiarity with, and that's okay. But this is not what the Wild will be trotting out there when you see them in a few weeks.
Are there more than 4 forwards up there that have NHL experience?
Boy,
Trenin,
not
Pitlick, Abe-Kubel. I don't see anybody else.
I think that's pretty much it. I think Ogren maybe.
So they must have 4 vets in on the D-corps? They could have 8, right?
Take a look at the defense. Leeson is a guy that's
so they have a good
bit.
D-corps.
So then
Johnson's got like more than
Jack Johnson's got them all.
A couple of combined.
And that's Ben Gleason, former Dallas and Texas.
Oh, they got
star.
2 goalies. Well, I don't know who Pettersson is. I don't know who that is.
Cal Peterson.
He's a vet.
You know who he
is.
is.
So they got 8.
Are you surprised? This is the thing I wanted to bring up. Phil Gustafson, who's their starter.
Well, why? Were you surprised when Binnington started?
No. Are you surprised they brought him to not play? Because he's going to back up tonight. They have
but who knows that they're not going to split? I mean,
well, according to their radio guy, Joe O'Donnell,
where are they going from here?
Expected back home. They play the Stars on Thursday in St. Paul at Grand Casino Arena. Joe, their radio guy, said that Peterson's expected to play the whole game tonight. Jake Ottinger in net for the Stars. Luds, I don't think we're going to see him the whole game. Maybe. The big quote, they interviewed him this morning. He said he was curious to see where his conditioning is at. I think he sets a pretty high bar for himself.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
I'm not either. So
I think he's kind of motivated at the way the end of the season ended last year.
So, again, this one, just like the other night, to wrap up our pregame show, it's not about result, although regulation would be fantastic. I'd just like to point that out there. It's all about evaluating different players and different scenarios. As you see, this is not about evaluating the team as much, is it?
Yeah, and I
Although
you know,
bigger NHL group.
Well, I was thinking about the Peterson and Gustafson in there, and I'm thinking, well, you know what? They probably knew they were going to have a bunch of young guys up front. They're probably not going to score 4 goals or so tonight. 4 or 5 if Ottawa, they've had a feeling Ottawa was going to start. So let's bring our 2 goalies, and maybe they can hang us in the game a little bit. But again, same thing for Billy Guerin as it is for Jim Nill and everybody else. They want to see how these young guys can play against a few vets too.
And it'll be interesting to see how Peterson plays because they have their high draft pick, Jesper Wallstedt, who made his debut against the Stars. I think it was last year or was the year before. He got a rude awakening against Dallas. But he's in line to try to be the number 2 now that Marc-Andre Fleury isn't there. Can Peterson play well enough to maybe earn that backup spot? Is there much of a competition? Is Peterson the number 3? That's what the Wild have going for you. For the Stars, well, we didn't get to use the Gulutzan stuff, but he was talking about Miro and Harley on the power play. We'll get into all that in the post-game show and much more right here on DLS right after the game tonight. So don't go anywhere. We will be here to break it all down once it's all done tonight, hopefully in regulation.
We all silly like the mayor.